10 common dating fears that we bring to the table and don't even realize it, especially, when you first start out again. Thank you so much for joining us again on Second Act TV. Once again, I want to welcome back Joni Caldwell Lerner, the motivational coach, relationship expert, which she hates when I say that, the podcast host of Wake Up with Joni. Thank you so much for being here again today.
It is my pleasure. I am a student of relationships.
Aren't we all? Aren't we
Yeah.
all? And it's actually a really, really great point. And I tell people that all the time, like when they ask me, oh, well, you have a podcast and you have this, wow, you must know so much. No, every day I realize how little I know.
You know what? And that statement right there, every master ever in the history of the world that's had any kind of impact, not that I'm calling us masters of any kind, but there's a humility. If I think I know something, then I have shut my brain off to knowing more.
Yeah, that's great.
Learning
point.
Something new.
Yeah.
So,
but I honestly mean that. That's why I think these conversations are so interesting, because I get something out of it every time. And what we're going to talk about today is 10 common, what they're saying here, common dating fears that we bring to the table and don't even realize it. I call it self-sabotaging thoughts, silent thoughts that you may not even be aware of, especially when you first start out again. What's floating around up here that might be causing that to happen, right?
Yes, well, absolutely. So we want to look at what are those subconscious fears, because I've been doing this for a while, coaching, and there is a common theme, especially when people are just getting out into the dating world, of what their fears are and whatnot.
Yeah, that's exactly what I was going to ask you. Yeah, I was going to ask you how often do you see this? Because
almost every time.
Yeah. Well, here's the first one. Let's talk specifics. I'm not good enough.
Oh, well, hello. That's the building block. And that is the probably the most common one. I'm not good enough. Oh, am I going to be good enough? Am I still pretty? Am I handsome? Or is anyone going to like me? Am I enough? And so I'm looking you right in the eye, everyone out there. You are enough. You are worthy. You are worthy.
Yeah.
Everyone's worthy.
And it doesn't mean that you don't have anything to work on.
No, but you're worthy.
You're worthy.
You're a human being on the planet having a human experience.
Yeah.
You're part of the map.
Yeah. And I think either deeper or lighter, what I'm trying to go here is, are we consciously aware? How often does that pop into your head? Am I good enough? Maybe pay attention to that. How often does something like that pop into your head? And how does that make you feel? So, okay, another dating fear here. They won't like me. Well, maybe, but what you don't want to do is present, not be you. And I think that's where this one leads is, oh my God, are they going to like me? It goes along with the good enough, but it's, will they like me?
Right.
And do I need to be something else?
The truth is, it's whether you like them. From your world, from your point of view, so it's a Silka-centric world over on your side. It's a Joni-centric world on my side. So from my point of view, what I need to be worried about is, do I like them? No harm, no foul. Doesn't really say anything about them, but is there a connection? Is there chemistry? Is this something that's going to work or whatever? What do I want? Growing up, we morphed, we chameleonized. Is that a word? We became chameleons.
So. It is now.
It's because I said it is. So to learn, what do I want? That's really important. There are some people our age out there who have not asked themselves that question.
Yeah. Well, and again, this is early on in the dating process. This is when you're still, really hesitant to go out there when this stuff comes up. And if somebody really doesn't like you, if they don't like you, well, then that's a good thing to know. Why waste your time? So
it's okay.
It's not.
Don't take anything personally.
Right. I know that's harder done than or said than done. But that's ultimately what it does come down to.
It really does, and that's one of the concepts that is the most freeing, and yet the one that people balk against.
Mm-hmm.
What do you mean it's not personal? Of course it's personal. They're insulting me. They don't like me. It's not personal. Seriously.
This is interesting. This is a little bit more self-centered, I guess. They won't be anything like I thought. Like, why even go? I know that they're not going to be what I thought they would be.
This is actually really, while it seems very surface,
Mm-hmm.
the truth is, and I'm coaching someone right now, as a matter of fact, who will play it out. This handsome gentleman who has a lot in common with me, who's contacted me. So good so far, right? Well, what if we meet and he doesn't like me and he's not what I expect? And then I'm like, what are you doing? So she sabotaged the journey before it ever began. So when a person is thinking about the future and what could happen and the expectation, that's all projecting into something that doesn't exist.
Right.
And making herself miserable.
Well, and this particular one is, they might not be, especially if it's online dating. If you've never met this person before, maybe you've had some communication and you build up an image of them. But if you haven't met them before, yeah, they may not be. And that's okay too. But
well, and I would say this, and it's very important. Are you ready? So what?
So what? Exactly.
That's the whole thing.
Right. And find out, here's the next one. There's not going to be any chemistry. Why even bother? I know there's not going to be any chemistry.
Mm-hmm. Same thing. Projecting, sabotaging, ruining it before they ever get there. This is a very important point. It is a very important point. If you're doing that to yourself, you are blocking yourself off from true experience because you're not in your authentic self showing up in the moment. You're all the way down the road at the stop sign.
And chemistry is, you and I have done a whole segment on that, the importance or the lack of importance really of an initial spark. That initial spark, that can actually blow up in your face because you're clouded. I mean, it's nice when you have that great, oh my God, he's cute.
Yeah,
but it rarely does that actually lead to anything. Anyway, we won't dwell on.
This is important, Silka.
Mm-hmm.
So,
okay.
You say something and then my brain goes off in another direction. So I think I told you I had a client. She went on one date with this guy and she said, I don't think he's a match. And I'm like, oh, tell me why. Yeah. And I said, well, don't throw the baby out with the bathwater. Go on a second date and see. They've been together ever since and they're buying a home together. It is a match and it is a beautiful match. But had she just gone, oh, red flag, I'm out.
And that's the hardest thing to get across. And I understand it too. I mean, I really do. Do you want to go on that second date if you just didn't feel it? You do get tired, you do get discouraged. And, but if you just keep that open just a little bit, again, if you're just starting out, just be aware of that you're not going to know if he's the one when he walks in the door. As the people I've heard women put in their profile, I'll know you're the one. No, you won't.
No, you won't.
Let's take the emphasis off chemistry.
Yeah, exactly. However, just a little caveat. If you get a hell no in your body, it's a hell no. You don't go back for a second date.
Right.
Okay.
Right. And you're absolutely right to bring that up because this is when everything else, when all the other boxes check, but there isn't just that chemistry, but everything else is really, you had a great conversation. You have the same values, you had a good time. It's just, I don't know if I want to kiss this guy or not. So that's, give that another try. That's how most, there's all kinds of research behind this, that most long-term relationships, especially for women, started off like that. So enough said about that. Talk about kissing on the first date. Here's one. They're going to cross my boundaries. What if they want to hug or kiss? What am I going to do? They're not going to respect my boundaries. Does that float around in the back of your head? Are you worried about stuff like that? Me
personally, no, not at all. I'm a hugger. However, when it comes to a kiss, that's something different. That to me is very intimate. I have learned over the last couple of decades, really good boundaries. And so I have no qualms whatsoever about, or not quite there yet,
Yeah, it's interesting because what came up for me, there was one date that I went on. Again, this is when I first started online dating. This guy, he was very outgoing. This that well, he insisted on holding my hand walking down the street, and that was the most uncomfortable thing I think I've ever been through. It's like what I don't even know this person. I'm not, and so I can
Yeah.
see. I actually had that thought, they're not going to respect my boundaries on the next date. But that was just such a turn off that I had to get that out of my head.
There has to be a mutual respect, a mutual
Hmm.
respect. And is it, would you be comfortable if I kissed you goodbye? Oh, not yet, but I'm looking forward to it. Or yeah, that was respectful. But there is something about permission, which is
Hmm.
great.
Hmm.
But if a person wants to, too early in the relationship, kiss you in public or in front of your
Hmm.
friends, then to
Mm.
me, that's a little bit of a, yeah, oof.
Yeah.
Um, it's almost like they're stamping their territory or something like that. So I would be wary of that.
Yeah, that's funny. I had that happen to me too. It just popped in my head when you said that.
Oh my
And it was
gosh.
very uncomfortable. That was it.
Yes.
That was it.
That
Very,
was it.
very,
That'll end
very.
it. That will end
Yeah.
it.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, a couple more here, and then I think we'll start wrapping it up.
Mhm.
What's the next step? So before even going on the date, you're worried about what's going to happen, you know, afterwards.
So again, it's self-trust. Just trust
Mhm.
the process. Just show
Mhm.
up and enjoy the time. At the end, you can actually say, well, I really enjoyed connecting with you. This has been
Mhm.
delightful. Uh,
Mhm.
what do you think should be next?
Well, and this kind of ties into another point here. How do I ask for a second date? Well, let's get through the first one first before you worry about that.
Yeah. Yeah. Overthinking.
Yeah, but is that? I mean, don't you just, hey, I really enjoyed meeting you. I hope to see you again. Is
Hmm.
there anything wrong with that?
No, not at all. I mean, the problem is you don't want to play games. I mean, there's plenty of time and none to waste. I've
Right.
said that a million times before.
Hmm.
So you want to just be honest. I really enjoyed our time together. This has been
Hmm.
awesome.
Hmm.
And if it's a guy, hopefully it'll come from the guy, from the man, and he feels the same way. I really enjoyed my time with you. Would love to have a second date. Thoughts? Yeah, that
Hmm.
sounds great. Okay, what do you think about hiking on Sunday, or
Hmm.
pizza and darts and beer
Hmm.
on Saturday night or something, depending on your proclivity? Actually saying something, and then if the person says, "Oh,
Let
there's
me
an
check
answer
my
too."
calendar.
Yeah.
Yeah. You know what? That's a good tip actually for people who are just starting is that you are likely to hear that even if they're not interested in seeing you again, because that is a way to end it without any sort of not conflict necessarily, but any sort of negativity. Like, I really enjoyed it, but it wasn't a match. People do say, well, I hope to see you again, and it's almost, they don't mean it. So maybe that's
Yeah.
something.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I would rather them say, I really enjoyed meeting you.
Hmm.
It doesn't feel like a match to me, but I
Hmm.
really wish you well.
Yeah.
So, I mean, that's kind of an ow. I mean, everybody's got
Well,
a different style, but I'd rather, you know what I mean? Don't
yes.
tell me I'd love to see you again and then never call me.
Right. Right. No.
Okay.
Yeah. I say, just, well, it was a really fun time. Okay. Thanks. Good night. I would have trouble saying that in person right after the date. What I did is just, text or the next day if they called me to say, it was a lot of fun, but
Hmm.
yeah, I just don't,
That's
that.
elegant. I would say that's elegant. So it really is a personal style. Just be willing to be kind,
Mhm.
gentle, and honest.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. Finally here, Joni,
Uh-huh.
does this float around in the back of their head? How many times do you hear this? It will end badly. It's just going to end badly anyway by go on a date.
So so do you hear the self-sabotage there?
Mhm. Of
They're
course.
they're their own worst enemy. It's the same thing that we were talking about earlier, which is projecting down the road. And so that negative self-speak, I would say stop. Where did that come from?
Mhm.
Beautiful listener out there. Where
Mhm.
did that thought come from? Was it when you were a kid? It's going to end badly. Nothing ever good comes. The other shoe's always going to drop. Figure it out. Where does that come from? And then I want you to, and this is very important, I'm coaching right now, okay? Look at the belief and then prove it wrong. Is it true? Is it true that it's going to end badly? I have no idea. Probably not. Might even have a good time. Yeah, it's going to end badly because I'm not worthy. I'm not, which now we're deeper. Now you got to look at that one. Is that true? Are you not worthy? Why are you not worthy? Prove it wrong. I'm worthy because I'm a loving human being. I'm worthy because I'm alive and breathing on the planet. I'm worthy because I'm good to my grandkids. I'm worthy because I really care about people. I'm worthy. I'm worthy. I'm worthy. So that's my coaching. Take your negative beliefs, figure out what they are, where they came from, and then flip them on their heads. Because the truth is, and this is my last, okay, here we go. You ready? Anything that's not love is a lie.
I was just going to ask you, is there anything else you want to say before we end this? What haven't we said? Is there something overriding that you see that you want to add?
Well, I just want to say, listen, if you're dating, been dating, you have dating concerns about starting dating, whatever it is, you're not alone. That these fears are, they're real to you because you're thinking them. The best thing to do is to challenge them, know that you're not alone, really ask what's true. And then I was serious. If it's not love, it's a lie. So anything that is negative, it's going to end badly. How do you know it's not true? Because it's not loving. That is a blanket formula for the rest of your life, and you'll always know what's true.
I love that. Thank you, Joni. We'll end on that.
Okay.
Well, if you want to get a hold of Joni directly, if you want to coach with Joni, I highly suggest you do. A lot of our viewers already have. You do have a way to bring clarity to certain situations. We have the Calendly link, Joni's Calendly link, easy for me to say, in the show notes below, as well as Joni will link to your fabulous podcast, Wake Up with Joni. And I can't wait to have another conversation with you soon on Second Act TV.